Thank you, everyone, for being here in this special day because today is the 31st of March. Today is the last day of this month that have been celebrated all over the city, all over the world. So that means that we will continue growing. And congratulations to Dr. Falu and the rest of the people who belongs to the board because even though I'm from the board, I'm the senior in the board because I am in the board since my sister started the program, which has been like 34 years. So, yes. And now we are going to bless this event. If you can turn off your cells, so like that you don't get distracted. And even though it's going to be something simple and profound, because we all are human beings that have our spirits, our condition in life that is all of energy, because the world doesn't move without energy. And some energies are very up, others are very low because they don't understand what the meaning of saying and thinking that you can do whatever you decide to do. That you can, with faith and with energy and believe in yourself, you can go far. But you have to believe it in you so you can project it to the world and the world give you that energy. Because I always say, you receive what you give. And whatever comes out of you is what will go around. That's what that phrase, that what goes around, comes again. That's the basic of life. And we're here to celebrate many years of sacrifice, of worry, of the intention of doing something that could, as Mr. Velázquez said, benefit for people around us and for us. Because the moment we think in ourselves only, that's the way to destruction. When we walk thinking that we have a group of people, physically or spiritually or mentally, that are with us, we can go far. There is a prayer that basically, I know it more in Spanish than in English. It's a prayer that is more an invocation to our being that all of us have. Es una oración que pide al ser que todos tenemos para que nos ayude a seguir adelante, a que haya una comunicación, un compromiso entre ese ser divino y el universo y nos vaya presentando lo que queremos poco a poco, porque whatever we want, we can get it, but it has to be believing. If you believe, you can see it, and that takes time. I was telling one of the persons here that who knows Stevie Wonder? No, not Stevie Wonder, I'm sorry. Steve Harvey. And he is the promoter and also the master of ceremonies of Family Feud, one of his shows. He now lives in a house of $14 million, but he was homeless for 3 years, and he used to sleep in his car. I cannot imagine sleeping in a car for 3 years. And he did it. And his secret is that every day he thought and he asked God, I want to be a millionaire. Which for us, oh my God, he's asking to be a millionaire. Well, yes. And if you want something, for big or small that it is, but that's what you want, ask to God every day. And this prayer que dice, hay una sola presencia. There's only one present. Hay un solo poder. There is only one power in the whole universe. And it's God, the owner of the universe. And that God manifests, ese Dios se manifiesta en precisamente, a veces se nos pierde algo en la casa, y yo soy testigo de eso. A mí se me ha perdido hasta un papel y digo, Padre, manifiéstate en ese papel, manifiéstate en esas llaves, manifiéstate en lo que yo necesito, señores. Y no pasan 3 horas de que yo no encuentre eso que estaba buscando. That power of the word, porque a la larga la palabra es el poder. Por eso se dice, no se debe maldecir nunca, ni decir malas palabras, porque las malas palabras nos traen la negatividad que hay en el medio ambiente, y hay mucha. Entonces nosotros tenemos que ser muy selectivos a la hora de hablar, y hablar siempre con un pensamiento claro, con un pensamiento derecho. When we talk, our words are powerful. And that's why they say you shouldn't think or allow your mind to think in negative things. Like people say, oh no, because now everything, the world is combustion. It will be a war at any moment. Never say that. You say, God have the proper way to put things in order. Dios tiene la forma, los que crean en Dios, pero siempre la gente cree, todos creemos en un ser superior a nosotros, ¿verdad? Everybody knows or think or believe that there is a superior power that involves us and give us the strength to continue ahead, because everybody here have gone through problems that are very difficult to a point that you think that you're not going to survive of those problems. Todos hemos pasado por problemas que hemos pensado hasta aquí llegué. Y hay algo que nos sostiene, que nos mantiene, y miramos hacia atrás y decimos, Dios mío, yo creía que yo me iba a destruir. Y estamos aquí todavía. Así es que vamos a pedirle a esa fuerza del universo, let's ask to that universal strength to give us the way, the knowledge to continue ahead. And believe in your ideas, believe in your heart. And whenever you have an idea or a feeling, trust that feeling. Crean en ese poder, en ese sentimiento, que eso tiene poder. Así es que, amigos, les dejo con la oración que todos conocemos, que dice, Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Vénganos en tu reino y hágase tu voluntad así en la tierra como en el cielo. El pan nuestro de cada día, dánosle hoy y perdona nuestras ofensas, así como perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. Y no nos dejes caer en la tentación, mas líbranos, Señor, de todo mal. Amén. Buenas tardes y que tengan un feliz día o el resto que nos queda de este día. Gracias. Velázquez.
Okay. Thank you, Malin, for all those beautiful words that give us a lot of energy. The energy of love, that actually love is what brings all the goodness together. And that empowers us and empowers me as well. And now, with that energy also, we will receive Mr. Hunter Hollingsworth, who is sings the national anthems. Thank you.
Right. We shall start with the U.S. national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, were so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare and bombs bursting in air gave proof to the night while our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave? Yeah, thank you. Now for the next anthem, called Lift Every Voice. Probably heard this many times before. Right. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the glistening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Thank you. And now for the final anthem of the evening, the Puerto Rican anthem. La tierra de Borinquen, donde nacido yo, es un jardín florido de mágico primo, un cielo siempre nítido, le sirvió el de dosel, y dan a rulos plácidos as olas a sus pies, cuando sus playas legó Colón, exclamó lleno de admiración. Oh, 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 es la linda tierra que busco yo. Es Boriquen la guía, le gira el mar y el sol, del 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 mar y el sol. Thank you. Yeah.
Now we have an award, distinguished member for 34 years, Miss Melba, better known as Malin, Falu Pesante. TV, TV and radio personality for over 25 years here in New York City. Also master in theater, New York School of Social Research, and also a TV program, Palique, with Malin. Palique is conversation, and at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Thank you, Malin. So we have some particular gift for her
De
today.
hecho, quiero decirles que este es mi estudio, aquí es donde yo grabo el programa.
Bueno, queremos expresar las más profundas gracias a Malin, porque son 34 años colaborando, trabajando juntas y de día y de noche. Entonces, eso no tiene nombre, es uno de los problemas que muchas de las personas que están aquí, que están haciendo sus corporaciones, confrontan, porque nuestras comunidades todavía no entienden el rol de las juntas de directores, y es un requisito legal. Y en estos momentos, después de Trump, todavía hay más énfasis en investigar, en examinar y chequear que las empresas corporativas non-profit estén cumpliendo con la ley. Entonces, ser miembro de la Junta de Directores es una dedicación porque es requisito legal que sea voluntario, no puedes recibir paga. Es una de las cosas que más yo enfatizo cuando estamos trabajando con los hombres y mujeres que han organizado sus propias corporaciones, de asegurarse que esas personas entienden su rol, que no es un rol decorativo, que vienen a trabajar porque es para la comunidad y hace falta que todos creamos en los servicios que estamos haciendo. Así que yo le doy las más gracias infinitas a Malin, y este premio conlleva un premio de $500 que ya lo recibirá esta semana. Gracias.
Ay, eso sí que es una sorpresa, Dios mío, porque sí, se trabaja. Yo me acuerdo una vez siempre un banquete que había que vender mesas y sillas y esto y lo otro, y yo me dediqué a, claro, estando en Guado, la gente conoce a uno, ¿verdad? Y vendí 10 mesas, que eso es una cosa increíble. Y me dijeron, sí, hay 1% por cada mesa que venda. Pero mira, estoy erizada. Cuando a la hora de yo dar todo el reporte, yo dije, no, cójanlo ese dinero como parte de la contribución también como miembro de la Junta. Y eso nunca se me olvida porque fueron muchas batallas, porque los banquetes se hacían en invierno y hubo un invierno que se hizo en City College que la gente llegó porque realmente creen en los objetivos que uno tiene, especialmente la Fundación Falu, que trata de enaltecer y de echar para adelante el concepto de la negritud y el orgullo de sus raíces. Muchas gracias.
Okay, now Miss Georgina Falu, the founder of this foundation, is going to be with you right now. Thank you.
Bueno, entonces vamos a traer en foco cuál es el objetivo de este evento. The objective of this event is to recognize first women, because this is Women History Month, but more than because it is History Month, is because the women has achieved establishing their own corporations. And I summarize in the program, if you have the program in your hand, for those of you who are curious, where I summarize the process that the people have to do when they start with their own corporation. This paragraph should guide many of you, if you are a member of the board of directors, to understand what needs to be done, because the process says that in the corporation, first the application. Right now, the Department of State is taking 3, 4, or 5 months to answer. Everything has changed after some of the problems in the society with the nonprofit. Then they wait those months. Then after that, they have the filing receipt. which is like the birth certificate of the corporation. Just like you are a person and you have a birth certificate, the corporations are also a separate entity, a separate person. They have like their social security. That's the filing receipt. And then after the filing receipt, then they go to the second stage, which is achieve what is called the 501c3. That's the status that gives you tax exemption. Without that, you cannot ask for proposals, for grants proposals. And the reason why I emphasize this is because there are millions of dollars in the society, in the government, in the different corporations, waiting for us to petition those funding. The process is not easy. You have to write a proposal. But I give training, I give workshops, sometimes with a fee, sometimes as a donation, but you need to go through that stage. And I'm training the people. Last week, 2 weeks, for example, we organized 5 new corporations. The total in 5 years that we have done is 58 corporations. They are all operating except for one. And now I'm putting an integral part, which is officializing the writing of the grants. Why? Because you need to at least shoot to send 2 proposals every 2 weeks. So that means proposals are out there. It's like fishing. You throw the net and you catch fishes. If you don't throw the net often enough, you don't get anything. Now, surprisingly, for example, the congressperson can give grants annually sometime of $1 million. We examine what our congressman is issuing. And in some cases, those monies are going to institutions that I personally feel they don't need that money. Or if they need it, there are many community organizations that need it more. And if we don't exercise our prerogative of expressing, questioning, supervising, demanding answers, it's not going to happen. Because if nobody complains and nobody asks, they continue doing the same thing they have been doing decades after decade after decade. So here today we are honoring some of the women, because there are many others, who organize their own corporation, who achieve the 501c3 status, which is like the golden jewel, I will call, and now we are in the process of focusing on writing grant proposals. I will invite you to learn of people who know how to read good English, who want to work and earn some money part-time. Send me those names. I will distribute among the people because they need people to help them write the grant proposals. And if they don't know how to write it, we give the workshops. For example, last week we did a workshop, and there was a person there, Magdalena Bisu, that just finished producing a film with her own pension money. That's a lot of sacrifice. When she could have been a nonprofit and get awards of $100,000, $200,000, because the film is of such a quality. We went to Brooklyn to see it, and she's trying to put this film in some of the festivals in the world, and I'm sure they're going to earn award. But most of the people, that's what they do. They're doing the work with a lot of personal sacrifice, putting money from their pockets or their friends. Yes, you need to do that, but you need to demand the share of money that correspond to your community, because you're not begging. That money is money that you pay in taxes. And because you pay in taxes, that money, your community has a right to receive a portion of those funding for the services of the community. Here, the people that we honor today, you're gonna see that there's variety of services that they do. There's different programs, and some of the programs are needed very badly. And imagine, we did 54 corporations. There are many more who are not here, who completed their corporation. And of the 54, 32 are women and the rest are males. We're gonna do a second meeting where we honor the men, and then we all will get together to push the effort for our nonprofit corporations to receive the proportion of resources that we have a right to receive. So later on, we'll give you a chance to ask questions or comments. We want to you to get ready, because today we plan you to propose measures or suggestions that our politicians or our government should do in our community to facilitate that our community groups receive those funding. There are sometimes, in the last workshop I did on Wednesday, some people don't even know how much money is available in the council, for example, for nonprofit, or in the state for nonprofit, or at the federal level. And then you must know that besides government money, there's also money from private organizations like Falu Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, Colgate Palmolive. You use a lot of toothpaste. Make sure they give you the share of funding that your organization need, because you are contributing to those funds. You have a right to receive it. And until we understand that, we're not pushing strong enough to receive what we need to receive. Here, Velasquez is going to sound one of our performers that is going to offer you a contribution in terms of art. So please, Velasquez, announce the next number, and then we'll continue with the program. Thank you.
So before being here, she said she has a surprise for us. It's Oxfield Fabulous. Okay? So this is yours. You need more space? You need this to be moved?
No, it's fine.
It's okay? So.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Oxil Febles, and I am very grateful for the invitation and to be here sharing with so many courageous people, right? Because right now, it's very hard to achieve one's dream when you're struggling with so much stuff, and especially systemic social injustice, right? That we don't see equality or an equity in the way that we should and we deserve, because we've worked for it. Especially as women, we play a very important role in society. So it's very meaningful for me and inspiring to see that for 30-something years, these two Afro-Puerto Rican women have done so much, empowering other women and men to create a better society and create opportunities for ourselves and create also opportunities for others. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. One thing that I'm going to do today, besides enjoying the moment, is to piggyback from Malin. She mentioned about the importance of being centered, of being grounded and rooted in something higher than ourselves, right? To be able to have a better view, a better idea and understanding, most of all, of what we want to achieve and how we're going to achieve it. And once you do that, the universe aligns and puts in your path the people and the circumstances that you need to get what you want. I don't know where I was when Steve Harvey got millionaire, you know, he got those millions, but hey, hi Steve. But in whatever level your dream is, I believe also, like Malin said, that it's achievable if you reach into yourself and just shut the attention that and the distractions that we have around us constantly. So I am going to ask you to gift yourself with a moment. Close your eyes. First of all, get comfortable in your seat. I was going to ask you to stand up, but you don't need to do that. Just get comfortable. Put your back on the side, the bag, you know, whatever is bothering you, just put it aside and take a moment and get comfortable and relax. Close your eyes. We're in a safe space. We're amongst friends. And take a deep breath. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as you sit there with your eyes closed and breathe at your pace in the way that your body needs, think of gratitude. Think of what is something that inspires you to feel grateful. Gratitude. Think of that concept of gratitude. That even if you don't have what you want right now, it'll come to you. You just have to believe and be grateful now for those things that are coming your way. And one word that I learned a while ago with a friend, it's a Taino word. It's like a chant. It goes, ah, ah, I want you to repeat after me. Ah, ah, keep going. And that means thank you. So as you do that chant, just visualize what you want. Focus on that image of what you want. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oxy. Ms. Falu is going to.
Well, we will be now calling each one of the honorees. They are women who already have their own corporation, their 501c3, and they're going to be explaining to you some of the issues that were crucial while they were struggling to continue developing their corporations. And we're going to present the first corporation that we did. And the first corporation that we did was by Antia Arruez. She is originally from Cuba, now in New York. And let's give a round of applause for Antia Arruez. I will stay close by because she's the only one who we need to translate to English.
Disculpen, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon.
Hay tantas cosas para decir aquí hoy, porque qué bueno es cuando uno está en un sitio y uno ve personas que se parecen a uno.
There's so many things to say, but it's so wonderful when we are in a place with people that share your ethnicity, your heritage.
Estoy muy feliz y nerviosa de estar aquí.
I'm very happy but nervous at the same time of being here.
Todo lo que he visto hasta ahora ha estado maravilloso, empezando por el cántico del joven. Me quedé en boquiabierta porque hizo un cántico de nuestra tierra, porque las islas del Caribe que hablamos español somos uno.
Everything that I have heard was so wonderful, and especially I'm talking of the young man, Hunter Hollingsworth, who sang songs that reflect our heritage and our national anthem.
A mí me gustaría un fuerte aplauso para él, para entonces yo poder hablar lo que voy a hablar.
I would like you to give a round of applause to Hunter Hollingsworth. And by the way, he's my grandson.
Yo comencé a formar una corporación sin fines de lucro. Puedo decir que por arte de magia, sin saber lo que sin saber realmente lo que estaba haciendo.
I started to organize a non-profit corporation without really realizing or knowing what it is that I was getting into.
Un historiador, profesor de Santo Domingo, me refirió a la señorita Georgina Falu. Yo no la conocía, llegué donde ella, y el día que llegué donde ella, fui con mi traje tal como él me mandó, pero la señora Georgina Falu estaba limpiando el sitio.
I was sent to Dr. Georgina Falu from the Dominican Historian, and when I arrived to the place, I found Dr. Georgina Falu cleaning the place.
Y yo me dije, oh, pero si ella es la que preside la institución, la reunión, ¿cómo va a estar limpiando mesas y limpiando el piso? Le di. Eso me dio muy buena impresión de ella. Vi que era una persona sencilla, que no tenía, que no sentía nada al tener el nivel profesional que ella tiene y estar limpiando mesas y limpiando el piso.
That was very positive to start because she has a high level position and yet she accepts to be cleaning the place.
Eso fue en julio del 2013 y le doy las gracias a Dios porque hasta hoy estoy unida a ella y contenta con lo que estoy haciendo, y para ser honesta me he mantenido por ese espíritu y esa fuerza que ella tiene, porque hay ocasiones que ya yo no tengo deseos de hacer nada.
It started in July 2013, and throughout all those years, I have received a lot of encouragement and energy, and to be honest, because of that, I still am working and doing my own corporation.
Realmente su preparación va acorde a ese espíritu. Entonces, ella transmite eso cuando uno está en el proceso de la documentación, llenando los papeles.
She transmits that energy while we're doing the paper, but I'm going to ask her to speak about her, what she is doing in her corporation.
Mi corporación tiene que ver con la identidad cultural, porque cuando llegué a este país vi muchas cosas que me hicieron sentir mal con las personas que hablaban español, con las personas de nuestros países. Cuido paciente y me di cuenta cómo los nietos dejaban de pedir bendición, algo que es muy tradicional en nuestros países hasta el día de hoy.
My corporation deals with heritage, with customs in our families, because here I started observing that children lose the contact with their heritage, their customs. For example, we used to children to ask for blessings, and I didn't see that happening anymore. So we decided to continue operating so that the families follow their customs, their cultural heritage, and give importance to that.
Todo lo que yo hago en mi corporación tiene que ver con la identidad cultural de nuestros países.
Everything I do in my corporation had to do with cultural identity of our countries.
No es de ningún país en específico. Tiene que ver con todos los países de habla hispana. Todo el que habla español está dentro de mi corporación.
It deals with all the countries of language, Spanish language speaking. So in some way, everything I do relate to all the countries.
Mi corporación tiene que ver con, bueno, principalmente teatro, porque soy actriz de más de 40 años. Gracias.
I'm a theater for over 40 years, so most of the cultural events I do has to do with theater.
Soy profesora de teatro para enseñar a los niños, a los jóvenes y a las personas de la tercera edad.
I am professor of theater, both to children and for seniors, to learn about their heritage through theater.
Trabajo con mucho esfuerzo porque siento que todo lo que me rodea está conectado con la política, donde no veo que los políticos tienen sensibilidad. Siento decir esto, pero es lo que siento. No veo la sensibilidad de los políticos hacia el arte que yo practico. Solamente están presentes cuando cuando quieren decir algo para llamar punto, para tener votos, para tener buena vista, pero no hay realmente un interés por las artes, y hay que tener mucho cuidado con las artes porque a través de las artes hay muy buena formación, hay educación, hay sensibilidad, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera.
Some of the observations that I have is dealing with the politicians. We feel they're not giving sufficient assistance, sufficient help to many of us working in communities. The arts and the culture teach families many things, and if they will put some attention, we will need that help to really go forward with our services and our programs.
Tú hablas con ellos, yo he hablado con algunos, no voy a decir nombres, tratando de buscar una donación, tratando de buscar una economía para tú poder hacer un trabajo mejor y no lo consigues.
You speak with many of them, try to communicate the problems you're facing, and most of the time it doesn't happen.
La doctora Falu nos ha mostrado y a través del tiempo nos está educando con las famosas propuestas. Ciertas propuestas tienen ciertos detalles.
We're trying to learn with Dr. Falu about the proposal, the grant writing. Grants are donations that you don't have to pay back. And we're learning some of it.
No quiero aburrirle. Yo les prometo que voy a seguir trabajando. Estaré haciendo mi mayor esfuerzo porque yo también tengo que trabajar como actriz. Yo estoy ahora mismo preparando un evento que va para Europa y espero que Dios me ayude. Como dijo Maylin al principio, las palabras de Maylin fueron muy interesantes para mí porque hay una conexión en las palabras que ella dijo con lo que yo estoy haciendo y conmigo misma. Así que le doy las gracias a Dios por eso y hasta aquí llega mis palabras.
I'll continue doing theater. Right now I'm preparing a project that might go to Europe, and I feel encouraged by the words of Malin, the prayers, because I need that faith in me to achieve the purposes that I want to achieve.
Muchísimas gracias por esta oportunidad, doctora. Infinitamente gracias a los que están aquí y transmitan, si tienen la posibilidad de transmitir algunas de las cosas que no les traiga problema, pues gracias por transmitirlo, transmítanlo.
Thank you to everyone for that you're here, and we're going to allow only 2 questions for each person. Anybody wants to ask any question from Antia Arruez? Any question, anyone? Any question?
I noticed that you were crying earlier. Are you okay?
Que tú estabas llorando, que si tú estás okay.
Sí, yo estoy bien ahora, pero es cuando tú actuaste, tú tocaste algo en mí, porque tú eres de la generación de mi nieto, y que eso es muy bueno para mí, pero al mismo tiempo eso me dio sentimientos.
I'm all right
Yes.
now, but when you sang, it inspired me because I have a grandson your age, and I felt deeply emotion when I heard you singing.
Tú le cantaste, tú le cantaste a Puerto Rico, pero para mí tú le estabas cantando a Cuba.
You were singing to Puerto Rico, but also you were singing to Cuba, which is my country.
Gracias.
Thank you. Any other question, anyone? Oh, Oxil?
De todo el tiempo que has estado trabajando con tu organización, yo sé que pueden haber muchos retos, pero ¿qué una cosa que te haya llenado de satisfacción, que es lo que te sigue empujando, ¿verdad? Algún logro importante para ti, que tú te veas identificada con ese trabajo?
Sí.
Of everything that you have done, what have inspired you the most?
Sí, yo estoy feliz con algo que yo hice con los niños del West Side de Harlem. Estuve muy feliz porque yo hice un proyecto de danza para el verano. porque yo sé que los niños, el teatro se dificulta un poco porque el teatro hay que pensar, hay que estudiar, hay que memorizar. Y como yo en mi corporación doy clase de dibujo para los niños, doy clase de danza, doy clase de teatro y otras cositas más, pues lo hice de danza y habían alrededor de casi, pasaron 50 niños. Habían niños inclusive de Argentina, que casi a veces no se ven, habían niños de Chile y también niños negros americanos con un ritmo espectacular.
I did a project with children, over 50 children, and I was teaching them theater, art, drawing, many aspects of art. And I think I'm very proud of that project because it was very successful. There were a variety of ethnicities represented, including from Argentina, which is not common. And it gave me great satisfaction when I finished that project.
Eso ha sido lo que más me ha, porque en mi país, desde que uno va al colegio, tiene que estar, los niños tienen que estar vinculados de carácter obligatorio a las artes. Es de carácter obligatorio en mi país.
In my country, it is obligatory for children to attend school, so that experience remind me of the experience back in Cuba, and therefore was very meaningful. Well, let's give a big round of applause to Auntie Arruez, and we are waiting for a photographer that will arrive here. But in the meantime, we're gonna give her the award, and this is the award, and then everybody will come with their award for the final picture. Thank you very much, Auntie Arruez. Now read it. The recognition says, somebody left this earring in the bathroom.
Ya me voy a sentar. Oh,
The award says, recognition of Auntie Arruez, women leading the community charge, starting their own corporations for economic empowerment, creation of jobs, while servicing families. Falu Foundation.
gracias.
And we will have the picture later on when the photographer arrives, but you could take a picture of her. In the meantime, while the picture takes place, I'm going to be calling on the person of Oxil Febles. And that doesn't need translation, so she's going to be speaking in English.
Me encantaría decirlo en español todo, pero pues está bien. Voy a seguir las instrucciones de Georgina. Sí, ¿verdad? Like I mentioned before, I'm very grateful for being here and also hearing such an inspirational story, and that gives us, you know, the strength and the energy to keep going. I am, I am a good human being. I consider myself a good human being. What I do, I am an educator, I am a teaching artist, I am a performer, and I started in the nonprofit world in Puerto Rico in 2008 with an organization by the name of Paso Negro. And it was focused on Afro-diasporic expressions, cultural expressions in the Caribbean. So I worked with the Institute of Puerto Rican Culture and Instituto de Cultura Puertorriqueña, designing all these different cultural and artistic experiences for the people. And when I taught I worked for the Department of Education for 20 years, and simultaneously I was also doing cultural work. So I agree with the importance of the arts as a resource, as a means of education and empowerment for kids, especially Afro-descendant kids, because that's the way that you can also tap into the real history, into their real strengths to empower them. I moved to New York City, although I was born here, I was raised back and forth. And I moved back in 2014. And although I started directing after-school programs, I was interested in having my nonprofit here. So I went to Georgina Falu, and she gave me this wonderful orientation and guided me through each step to be able to have not Paso Negro, because that became like part of like the name of the services, and has become kind of like my artistic name, I guess. But it's called O-Team, and it's focused on the arts, culture, and arts as a means of education. Part of the services that I provide is Afro-Caribbean dances. I do lectures on Afro-diasporic, Afro-Caribbean culture. I also have a program for kids that is focused also on literature and all the other academics things, but within storytelling. And I also do an event that's called Phenomenal Tales of Womanhood, that's focused only on women. And for several years, I've been sponsored by the Bronx Council on the Arts to do a festival every 2 years called Neo-Afro-Diasporic Festival. So I try to tap into Afro-diasporic cultures, taking advantage of the diversity that we have here in this city to get people together and reach an understanding of how similar we are in the stories that we share, and empower one another and give us, which to me is very important, visibility. And although I believe in inclusion because it's women that we're focusing on, I believe in the visibility of the Black woman, Afro-descendant woman, and Black comes in many, many shades. So we need to empower one another. We need to start having, occupying more spaces. And whatever the schools don't do, nonprofits can do, right? Whatever services, children or adults, doesn't matter. Whatever services are not there for our people, precisely nonprofits are the ones that can fill in those gaps and help make sense of what's going on and create some type of balance, and also support our communities with what they need and not what others believe that we need, because we're part of it. So I really want to appreciate the opportunity of being guided by Georgina, que tiene una tenacidad y ella habla con esa autoridad como buena puertorriqueña. Tú tienes que hacer esto, tú tienes que hacer, y acuérdate de hacer esto, y ven para acá porque... and it's like a mom. So I appreciate that. It grounds you and it shakes you and it's like, yeah, we gotta go, we gotta do this, yeah. So I really enjoy that and appreciate that tenacity and that strength and the brilliance, because it has to take a lot of intelligence and experience to be able to guide others into seeing something come into fruition, right? So I have my 501, and I'm already in the process of, I need money. So yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Well, as I was a teacher in Puerto Rico, teaching social studies and Spanish and academic stuff, I was already performing. So it was easy for me because I was surrounded by artists to do things in the schools on my own. Once I came here, directing after-school programs, I also understood the importance of infusing the programs with the arts, and I reached out to artists here and created artistic residencies in these programs. Now, I am currently a grantee of Creatives Rebuild New York, so I have the blessing of being focused only on teaching, art and going to schools and also collaborating with other private and organizations where I go and teach. One of them, Boricua College, that I offered a lecture there not too long ago. So yes, it's been a wonderful transition, that also being having a nonprofit has helped me reach for other funds to continue supporting this journey that I believe the universe keeps pushing me away from the DOE, and I'm very grateful. I mean, no shade, but It is true. We need to be able to create other things for our children and youth and adults as well. So, thank you. And yes, por eso, por ahí voy. Yes.
Yeah, I'm impressed by what I've been hearing from the women today. Do y'all ever think about doing a collaborative? She's from Cuba, Puerto Rico. Do you ever? This is maybe a suggestion I have that maybe y'all need to get together. Maybe y'all could do something together once a year. For all the different
It's a great
populations
suggestion.
like that.
It's a
I don't
great
know if you're
suggestion.
doing it now, but have you thought about doing something like that?
Well, as she was talking, I went recently to Cuba, and I'm returning in June for a cultural work con la tumba francesa y la bomba puertorriqueña. So as she was talking, I didn't know. I met her. You know, this is my first time here. This is the first time having this experience. So I believe that out of this moment, a lot of great things can happen, and it's a great idea. Yes. Well, I'm open to the experience. So yes.
Thank you so much, Oxil Febles. And here is your award. If you could put to the camera to take a picture. Thank you very much. And now we're calling on Brenda Wooten. And let's give her a round of applause.
Hi. I'm not much of a speaker. I'm more of the back end, you know. But I grew up in a family of social workers. My mom, my brother, my cousin, and they were always advocating in the community. And my mom would drag me to all the events and always made it very clear that I was a Puerto Rican woman and that I needed to help as many people as I could, like she did. I went into technology. I have a background in technology of 15 years, and I retired. And I needed something to do. So I prayed, I meditated, and I said, why don't I work with the community? This is what I know. Even though I always shunned it because I was always there, I said, let me give back, let me go back. And I went with my mom to a workshop at Falu Foundation just to go, and I met her. And it was about setting up the 501c3s. So I said, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But I said, let's give it a shot. I spoke to her. I said, I didn't have much of a vision. I just said, I just want to help the community. I didn't know if it was technology, what it was, but I said something. So she said, just go with it. Let's do the steps. Let's set it up. So that's what I did. I started it in 2020 when everything collapsed. And the most impressive thing for me was the seniors. A lot of seniors that I knew in the community were left alone, suffered. They weren't in the nursing homes. They were living home by themselves, and their families were not taking care of them. So I volunteered, and I took care of 2 seniors in the community while at the same time setting up this 501c3. And I saw devastation. I mean, one of the women had dementia, and her grandson would leave her home with nothing, no food, the clothes she wore were dirty. She was really living in her apartment homeless. So I would go and spend time with her a couple of hours a day and made sure that she had something to eat. But the biggest thing that impressed me was that I would get there, and sometimes she would walk out into the community by herself. She lived in Inwood for over 40 years. So people, the only saving grace was that everybody knew her. But she would just go out. She had money because he would come and leave her money. Don't know why, because she didn't know what it was. She would hand the cashiers $100 bill for a container of milk. And the saving grace was God was watching over her, and they were honest. She was never abused. So, all that being said, I said to Falu, I'd like to start something for seniors. There were a lot of hurdles. Politically, everything shut down as far as grants and monies and registrations, and the red tape to become a home service, a home health service, closed down, and they told me I would not be able to do that for at least 3 years past the pandemic. And I'm still not certified in it, but I do help. So what I did was I said, you know what, I'm going to go into Inwood. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to see Hispanics, because they're mainly Hispanics, and I'm going to see what services I can give them if they needed help. Since I'm bilingual, and a lot of them do not speak English, even though some of them have been here for over 10, 15 years, they don't speak English, and they don't want to speak English. So I went into the community, and I offered my services, and the biggest thing was housing, the rents, the health services. A lot of them didn't know where to go. They lost their jobs. They couldn't pay their rent. So I started getting programs for them that they were eligible in and helped them fill out the forms. I kind of was the mediator between the agencies and them. So that's what I've been doing. I did that for like 2.5 years during the pandemic. Now my problem was that I did not have funding. So a lot of the monies that I used were my own. And Falu was always telling me, apply for the proposals. I'm not a great writer. So I said, I shunned away from it. So now, this year, I'm going to be concentrating on that. Yeah. Also, my direction now is I'd like to continue to do the work in the community, but I see a need for the children to learn other things. The arts is one of them, but I'm not an artist. But I like gardening. I like farming. So I'm looking to purchase some land, not huge land, and do what they call freight farming, and kind of teach the women that have children and the children how to farm, so that they can learn to eat differently, you know? So that's my goal, and that's it.
Go ahead.
Yes.
How are you finding it now that you're doing the proposals, like, are, not being the greatest of writers? Like, what's your challenges?
Well, I've written, I have a degree, so I've written, but the proposals, they're a different animal, there's tricks, but this
Yes.
woman is brilliant. She can write them with her eyes closed. So I'm following her techniques and following her, and hopefully get proficient in it,
And Brenda is a computer genius. Don't get deceived.
Yeah.
And so that united with the farming and the projects, because most of the women has not talked of the sacrifices of stretching $1 to cover months and months and months of expenses. But they need to become financial wizards to utilize those funding and to grab the funding that is there for grabbing. And I have changed the strategy of putting an official person who will be writing proposal in each of the corporation, and I think we're going to be doing that much more readily every month. So let's give a big round of applause. And this
Thank
is
you.
the Then let's put it so that he take a picture of you. This way. Good, thank you. And I told the photographer that at some moment I want to stop a break, so we all sit here to take a picture about. Thank you, Brenda.
No way.
And now we're talking of Shari Logan, but we're gonna have Angela Bennett speaking for her. She had to work today, but she's doing one of the most amazing corporations, which is inspiring youth and children to write, to be newspaper people, to write for magazines. We are underrepresented in the staff throughout the media, and the media is so powerful because it's the one developing an impression of who we are. We don't want to let that somebody else to do it, we want to do it ourselves. So this Miss Angela Bennett is gonna speak about the project of Shari Logan.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm nervous a little bit because I really don't speak. Okay. Miss Shannon Logan is, we need voices, especially young people, because we need, back in the day, Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and Al Sharpton, they were out there speaking, and we need to grab more of the media and news of little organizations as well as big ones, because we always hear about the fake news, and these young people need to get involved, honestly. You know, I can remember my mother said 5 cents to ride the bus, or $10 or $5 to pay rent. So for the causes that's going on now for these young people, you know, stand up for your rights. Write about it, talk about it. You know, you can do TikTok silliness. Can you do TikTok save a life? Be part of the community, do stuff for others, think of others. It's not always about name brand. It's about what can I do as a human being for another human being. So I give honor to this young lady about the work that she's doing. They should get involved. And I don't know who she is. God bless her. That's all I gotta say. Is that enough?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. So I'm up here. I'm listening to everyone, and honestly, it's amazing to me all the things that everyone is doing. And as I stand here, I wish I could say to you this was my dream from the beginning. But this, this literally, I say that it was God's work because it was not my dream. So when I graduated from Hofstra, with a dance degree, I was one of the only color skin people there. So I was going on Broadway. I had these big plans. I was auditioning. I had my whole everything set up. And I was going to auditions and I wasn't getting anything. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to take a job for a year. 1 year. And this job was going to just kind of get me some money as I was doing my auditioning and everything else. So I often say a lot of times I need to make a movie about my life because it does not seem real. And it's almost like it's like an actual plot to a movie. So I went to a school, a performing arts high school, and then I taught, let's say about 2 months. And there was a dance team there that met after school. So I took the dance team over as a club advisor, and then the dance team there was not many people involved in dance prior to me coming there. When I had auditions, 60 kids showed up. So everyone was like, oh my goodness, I didn't promote the audition. I didn't say, hey, I just was like, hey, I'm having auditions. So because of me, I don't know what it is. People still to this day say this about me. when you have auditions, you're supposed to cut people. I could not cut a kid. I mean, even if the kid just did this, I was like, you got it. You got it. So then they came to me later and they said, how are you going to have 60 kids in a dance club? So at that time, I didn't really have much to do. I took 4 days of my days, I guess you could say, after school, and I made a club A and then a club B. So then at this time, I was there for 6 months, and there was 60 kids on the dance team. The team became such a powerful force at the school that I did not plan for at all. So I was still auditioning, I'm going on Broadway. These are my aspirations. I can't wait. I finally, in 1999, get a gig, and it was for Prince. Oh my goodness. I'm like, I'm gonna dance for Prince. This is great. I was like, see you later, high school. I am not here anymore. Then the spring concert comes out. The day that I'm supposed to leave for Prince's tour is the exact day of the spring concert. And I'm like, seriously? Really, the exact day? I literally can, to this day, pinpoint they say in life you have that right or left moment. That literally was the game changer for my life. It could have gone either way. And many times, as the nonprofit struggle goes, and as those days when you have no money and you're like, what am I doing? I go back to that moment. So originally my decision was, I love these kids, but I love myself. I want to perform for Prince. This is Prince. Like, come on, and be his backup dancer. So it just happened, again, where I feel like this is a movie. It just happened. I got a phone call from the person doing the casting, and one of the kids, her name is Tamika, she just happened to be there. She was always attached to my side. And I was talking to him about what I had to do, and so she overhears, and then I could still see it in my mind, right after I got off the phone, she was like, are you leaving us? I was like, well, sweetie, I had a good time. I was your teacher. It was great. And she was like, you're really going to leave? I was like, well, I'm not sure. She's like, if you leave, I'm never going back to school again. The only reason that I come to school is because of dance. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Thank you for the guilt. Thank you. Thank you very much. And then she tells her other friend, and then she comes to me crying, and she's like, I don't think you understand what happens in my life. Her mother was alcoholic. She had so many obstacles, and literally dance was the thing that got her through it all. It gave her strength. It gave her confidence. At this point, there were 60 of them, so they ran deep. We had jackets. If you had a dance jacket, you were on the in and in around. It was high school, so you know how that is. And then she looked at me and she said, I think I'll just kill myself. I'm like, what? What do you mean you're going to kill yourself? She's like, if you leave, I have no purpose. I'm going to go home with my mom, who's probably drunk, and I just won't do it. I sat with myself and I'm like, I can't. And so if she was bluffing or not, I'll never know, because I just couldn't do it. I was like, I can't just walk out. Turn the gig down. I was like, oh man. And then after I turned that down, I guess you could say my life began. I stayed there for 4 more years. And what happened was, after the kids graduated, they kept coming back to the school for practice. So then the principal was like, you can't have more alumni kids in the after-school club than actual kids that are coming. At that time, I was kind of auditioning, but not as much. So I said, you know what? I'll just take the alumni kids and make a small little club that's going to be a community thing, because these kids didn't have money. It was in South Jamaica. So they really couldn't go to college. They would go on interviews to get jobs, and they would say stuff like, yeah, hire me, you know what I mean? And the person's like, no, I'm not hiring you. I'm not doing that. So again, I just had this small little thing that I was going to do. Got all those kids together. We would perform at senior citizen homes, and then they would talk to the seniors. We would perform at any type of elected official thing that was going on. And then a friend of mine, I met up with her, and she was like, you should start a nonprofit. And then once I started that nonprofit, I started doing workshops. How do you speak at an interview? How do you speak just in general? How do you carry yourself? Again, it was not a goal of mine. It just was situational. It was what was happening. These kids were literally latchkey, hanging around nowhere, had nothing to do. Fast forward a little more. the school that I got another job directing a dance program, and so I said, okay, guys, this was great. I'm going to now work at this elementary school. It was a K to 12 position. I was like, okay, this is great. I'm making more money. Do you know those kids found me? I don't know how. I don't know. They came to the school and they was like, how did you leave? We're not done dancing. I'm like, I don't work there anymore. Fast forward a little more, they wanted an after-school program. The kids were still facing the same thing, like most of our kids do. They couldn't find jobs. They weren't hireable. Even though they were sweet kids, they weren't, their pants were down here. They're like, nah, I mean, miss, you know? So that's how they were carrying themselves. Since the job that I was at, which was K to 12, wanted an after-school program, again, I was like, you know what I could do? I've been teaching most of these kids now for like 6-7 years. Why don't I just start a dance school? Now, this dance school in the very beginning was run by all, I'd say, between 16 to 19-year-old kids. Again, why I think it feels like a movie, I put these kids in leadership roles to actually teach kids younger than them, and it was actually amazing. And my nonprofit, I would love to say I started with adults. I did the paperwork for my nonprofit with a bunch of 15 to 18-year-old students, which is crazy. They sat there, they researched with me, we did the paperwork. After a while, I even stopped hanging out with my friends. They're like, you spend so much time with these kids than you do with us. When the paper went through, it was amazing, and we did a big show at your college that had over 1,000 people there. And I couldn't even believe it. Fast forward a little more, the school that I was working at, it started becoming so popular again that we had so many students that we had to wind up leaving because we were taking over too many classrooms. So then at that point, we went on to a community center, and then I got my own storefront, which still kept going. And now at this point, these kids are like 25, 26, and their younger siblings are there, and it just kind of kept going and going. And I look back, and it's so funny that you talked about Steve Harvey, because there were times that, to be very honest, I felt a little resentment towards the nonprofit, because I was just like, I have all these kids and I have all these resources and I have no help. You know, there was so much out there, and it's literally a need for this, but no one's doing it. And then when you say something, people go, yeah, and they won't actually get it done. And then one day I heard Steve Harvey say this, and again, it was another life-changing thing to me. He said to me, well, he said not to me, what I was listening to, what I heard. He said, Albert Einstein said, if you want to know what's going to happen with your life, look at your imagination. And your imagination is the preview of the coming attractions of what's about to happen. And something for me throughout my whole life, my imagination has always been this huge field that I could never contain. And I would always say, I didn't go to school for business. I didn't study this. How do I have such a huge following? I remember looking out one time, almost 600 people in the auditorium, and looking at myself like, what are you doing? I'm talking about adults, seniors. We had a play where I think the main character was like 65 years old. And I'm like, how's a 65-year-old person looking, following me? And then when that whole imagination thing, I heard the quote, I was just like, oh. And then from there, I wound up meeting Dr. Falu, and then I was able to literally put action to my mind, which I sometimes call like a wild zoo. Like, it's just like, oh, do this, and I would say that in all that, what winds up being a resentment started becoming a blessing to me. And then once I started moving through being grateful, it's just amazing the amount of lives that this nonprofit was able to touch. They actually went to a show one time, and I finally realized the purpose of my nonprofit, again, which I did not know, which I say probably if God showed me, I would not have done it. What I think that this nonprofit did is it takes the insecure child with no voice, and it gives them a voice, and it gives them a family. Most of the students that I teach, you will not see them in Alvin Ailey, but you will see them as whole individuals because now they've used the arts to get a family connection. And it's something I couldn't even put words to. You know, I don't even know how, or if I was to do it again, if it could have one of those moments in time that's just has kept going. So since the pandemic, we actually wound up not having the storefront that we had anymore, which again, I say is just kind of God because I didn't even see this coming. So I was like, okay, the pandemic happened. My son has autism. And so I started paying more attention to him. And then I realized that the arts and special needs go hand in hand. Why I didn't realize he had it is because he was dancing and he was rapping and he stutters, but when he raps, he's not stuttering. And it's amazing. And yeah, stutter, right? Yeah. And then I said, I'm going to step back. And then the community stepped up. And I was like, oh my goodness, those kids, those high school kids that I told you about, they started taking place and they started putting together what we did already. And it literally, like, the whole Lion King circle of life started happening. So I just met with them again last week and they was like, okay, so we all kind of getting together. We all are kind of do this because we have a whole nother generation of kids that's literally just there that it just worked itself out by. And I think I've realized through this whole process of nonprofit the power in working through gratefulness. Like, the more grateful I became, the stronger the organization became. And it was like, we literally ran $1 million organization on nothing. I don't know how I made the payroll. I could not tell you. We never brought in as much as we paid out, and to this day, I cannot tell you how. So my goal is now, I will never rent again. I want to try to purchase a facility and literally put tools in place to use the arts to help children with special needs and to keep helping to empower, but realistically, and give them not medicine, but someone said, you have to teach skills, not pills. And that is what I would like to buy this building on and start getting a group of people that's in agreement with that. And we can use these performances instead of medicine, instead of things along those lines. So this way they're moving and kind of getting that together. So that's my goal, that's my vision, that's where I'm going right now. I did start working back for the Board of Education. And I'm working for the Board of Education because I wanted to start so I can get a down payment to actually get this facility. Like, I see it in my this imagination that I was telling you guys about. I see it. Each floor has like counseling centers, and then we have a theater in there, and where we don't have to ask anyone because the kids can practice upstairs and perform downstairs, and they'll just keep it going, and hopefully it'll be here beyond all of us, you know. And so that's my goal and that's my vision, and that is Kia. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. I just want to let you know that even though I am not usually an actor, I have been taking part of Yamira group and also Tauro as well. And her corporation is Tespi Theater. Tespi is known as a first actor, according to history and mythology as well. Well, and she has been organizing this corporation, you know, with most of the, you know, issues most of you have, economical issues, time issues, and things like that. It's a lot of effort because there are not many places available to present theater shows and things like that. But anyway, she has been organizing these presentations. One of the last one was the importance of being Ernest from Oscar Wilde, la importancia de llamarse Ernesto from Oscar Wilde in Spanish was the presentation, and also others that I know was in combination with some of you. Also, Auntie also has worked with her as well. So she asked me to. She apologized because she was having an issue because she's working and she was about to take her break to come here, but it was actually not very hard. But anyway.
Any question for Jose Velasquez about Yamaira? Thank you, Jose Velasquez.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, now, thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to summarize two people that cannot be here. One is an African woman, Queen Mother Perea. She was here in New York for many years, and she returned to Ghana. She's a queen in her community there. Actually, I visited them. I took 5 computers, and we initiated there a training center for women in Ghana. And when I went, they received me with a parade through the street with band and music, and I couldn't imagine that that was going to happen. She's there, and I got the idea of developing there a sister institution to Falu Foundation. So she owns land. She offered the land, and we have some architects working in the design to develop what we call a center for manufacturing development. Why? Because Africa needs to develop their own raw material so that they develop jobs for the people in the communities, can sell those goods, make the money themselves, and go forward with economic development. We will keep you informed. We're planning a trip to Ghana in September. I will let you know because I have your information. Next person is a person that I had to mention. She was coming. Something must have happened because she was very illusioned to be here. Her name is Milagros Cancel. She worked as a mother with 3 kids, 2 of them disabled. But she has put so much effort in this nonprofit corporation to what? To service the disabled children. So she has it close to her heart. She do the papers immediately. She come and work with me, and we work together to push the corporation to a level where she could have a payment job full time. Now, 2 things I want to comment about this. You have heard many sacrifices. One of the things the people have to try to develop is stabilize the earning so that they could have a salary paid to themselves as CEO of the corporation. That could be done. But financing and planning is something that a lot of people don't put a lot of attention. And people have to put attention to it because I am an accountant by training, and I always remember why I'm an accountant. I like philosophy, I like this. But listen, accounting has saved almost every project I have because the financing has to be balanced, the money has to be there, and now writing proposal and getting the funding to make sure that my credit ratio is good at a well level and that I can use it for develop projects. I suggest to you, let's keep it up with the writing of the grant proposal. That's the target. And now I invite you all to come here so the photographer can take a picture of the whole bunch. Thank you very much.